Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today, whether it's your evening or your midday or morning. We're just going to let everybody kind of get settled here before we begin in a minute.
Should we be muted?
If you don't mind, please, if you could mute yourselves, please. Yes, thank you. All right. Well, why don't we begin? My name is Paul Hastings, and as of this past weekend, I am serving as the chair of the American Friends of ARI board. I live with my family, my wife Debbie and my two sons Liam and Grayson, outside of New York City in a town called Maplewood, New Jersey. I work for the Japan International Christian University Foundation, which is a foundation based in New York that works with ICU, International Christian University. Many of you probably know of ICU in Tokyo and Mitaka, Japan. And it's great to meet you all and great to have you here today for this fireside chat to talk with staff and everybody gathered here today of Asian Rural Institute. So, I think this kind of event is really important now, especially given the pandemic. We've all been isolated from each other for a long time now, and connection is one of the hallmarks of ARI. And so, we're really happy to be in community with you all tonight. Although we'd rather, of course, be together in person and definitely on the campus in Tochigi. That would be better. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your support and for joining us this evening. I just want to make a couple of announcements before turning it over to Margaret Hoffmeister, who will lead us in an opening prayer. Just want to remind everybody that there will be an opportunity for questions later on. And if you do have any questions that come into your mind, feel free to just put them in the chat at the bottom of the screen. And also, if you could please mute yourself. It looks like everybody's already diligently muted themselves. So thank you for doing that. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Margaret Hoffmeister, who is, until this past weekend, was serving as the chair of the American Friends of ARI board. And I'll turn it over to you, Margaret, for an opening prayer.
Thank you, Paul. And thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. And as we do begin, let us be in a spirit of prayer. Holy One, known by many names and beyond all names, known in many ways and beyond our knowing, we gather this evening as your people to listen, to speak, to partner, and to be in community with one another. We give you thanks for technology that enables us to be together virtually in this way across time zones and continents and countries. And we acknowledge the power of your spirit that transcends time and space and is present to each of us at this time. We are especially thankful for those among us who know how to use this technology and have made this gathering possible. Holy One, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues, we pray for those who have lost loved ones, for those who have suffered from this virus physically, emotionally, financially, and spiritually, and pray that they may sense your loving and life-giving embrace as they continue the journey of healing. We pray your blessings upon the staff, the volunteers, the participants, and the graduates of the Asian Rural Institute who continue to strive to live into the vision and hope that we may live together. And we pray for ourselves this hour and in the days to come. We pray that you would strengthen all of us with your life-giving spirit and grant us the wisdom and courage to bring about the changes necessary so that together we might bring about a season of unity and peace and justice for all of your creation. With faith, truth, and joy now and in all that is to come, we give you thanks and say amen.
Amen. Thank you, Margaret. We're going to turn now to a short video of campus. Many of you have spent time at ARI, and maybe it's been a while since you've been there. So we're going to roll a short video before turning it over to ARI's director, Tomoko Arakawa. Eric, could you please start the video? Eric, we can't hear the sound.
Okay.
ARI is a training center for rural community leaders set on a 6-hectare farm in eastern Japan, Tochigi Prefecture. Founded in 1973, we conduct a yearly rural leaders training program in which we nurture and train grassroots leaders from communities throughout Asia, Africa, the Pacific, and the Americas. We will take you around our campus, and you will notice things on your right and left. ARI rears various livestock, which adds to the training program. Working in both livestock and field sections will help participants understand the interconnected relationship of animals, plants, and other microorganisms that are central to integrated organic farming. Fruits are not very common on ARI campus in comparison to tropical countries. However, we try to process the ones we do have for various purposes. When you finish your activities each day, you will return home to your dormitory. Living in the dorm with a roommate is also a very important learning and training opportunity for each person to practice our motto, that we may live together.
Recording in progress.
From the poultry section, we get direct benefits such as meat and eggs, but also byproducts that help the farm, such as chicken manure, which is used in bokashi compost. At night, our goats stay in these bamboo houses made by staff and participants in past years. You can learn more about their benefits and functions in later videos. Pigs love to eat grass and vegetables. We sell and consume pork, but also make use of the biogas liquid and biogas created by collected pig manure. Participants will get to manage both livestock and vegetable fields during the training. Together, we all participate in food life work to contribute to the sustainability, self-sufficiency, and health of our community. Feed for the livestock is made at ARI to reduce dependency on buying concentrated feed from outside. We try to seek local resources, which help us build self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency of a community or society that leads to a stable and secure life is found in a life of sharing. The other areas on campus, as you will see ahead, are more simple. Many of the buildings you see were reconstructed after the disaster in 2011 with the support and aid of many churches and organizations who continue to extend a helping hand to us even today. We hope you enjoy the view of various aspects of the campus.
Well, hopefully that brought back some good memories for all of you. Thank you for showing the video, Eric. And now it's my my honor and privilege to introduce Tomoko Arakawa, the director of ARI, who's joining us from Tochigi, from the ARI campus this morning. I think many of you know Tomoko-san already, so I won't go through a lengthy introduction, but I will say that I learned recently she's currently the longest serving staff person at ARI. So I'm happy to turn it over to you, Tomoko-san.
Hi, good morning. Good evening, everybody. Here it's morning, 8:40 in the morning. And then it's great to see you. I see some familiar faces, very familiar faces. And it's so exciting to join this event. I think this is the first time. And then it happened because of COVID-19. So thank you very much for coming to this event. And then I can see that you are in good health, and then although still the world is in a pandemic and then very difficult situation. I'd like to give you some update of the ARI. I think 2020's activity will be shared by our annual report very soon. But last year, 2020, we were able to have 8 overseas participants and then 2 Japanese participants. However, this year, Japanese school starts in April, and the Japanese government does not allow any international students and even the travelers. So we don't have any overseas participants from April, so 0 overseas participants. But we have 3 Japanese participants. But this is the first time in our 48 years history to start a training program without any overseas participants. And then we were very troubled because we need to rethink what ARI is for. ARI is for the rural leaders of the so-called developing countries, developing areas of the world, but we don't have anybody. So it was very difficult to start whether we can start this training program or not, or we should wait for them. We decided to start the training program with 3 Japanese participants and then connect with all the about 30 overseas participants who are waiting to come to Japan. And time to time, we connect, not all of them, because some people, as you know, they are living very remote area of the world and internet connection is not so smooth. But about 10 or so, we are able to connect. So we sometimes give an orientation class, and we send out the videos and then class sessions. And then sometimes we connect real time and share our opinions. But it's possible, but it's very different from what we used to have in ARI with face-to-face. We decided to wait until mid-June, actually, at this moment, to bring them and then have a regular training program up to December. However, now still Japanese government does not allow anybody, any international travelers. So we have still 3 Japanese participants, and we just have 1 more additional participant, but she is in Japan and originally from Guinea, and then she's actually asylum seeker, but she's strongly hoping to go back home and then start the community development activities. So she's new, and then this is first time for us to accept and welcome asylum seekers, and the first time to have a participant from Guinea. But we are very happy, and she's very enthusiastic, learning about everything at ARI. So now participants are 4 at this moment, and then yeah, we are very thankful to meet her and then have her in this time. So our community is very small right now. Usually, previously, we have about over 60, and then about 70 community members on campus, living together, working together, eating together, and learning together, growing together. And then it's very, maybe chaotic. Many people come from different parts of the world, many colors, and then languages, and then religions. But this time, majority is a Japanese. So I've been here for over 25 years, but this scene is very new. Most of the faces are Japanese faces, although we have some Americans and then some international students, staff members who are graduates of ARI. But still, we try not to speak Japanese, and that is very big stress for us. We can speak Japanese, but we try not to speak Japanese as much as possible. Try to improve English, especially for the Japanese participants. But I see that this community, new looking community, maybe original shape of a ARI community at 48 years ago. Majorities are Japanese staff member at that time, and then smaller, and then and the family, more family members and the children are running around, and then we support each other, more stronger and more intimate relationship each other, and we really work together to maintain this community. So I guess that maybe 48 years ago, at the very beginning of ARI, maybe it looked like this community at this moment. And then from this very, I would say, primitive looking ARI community, we are able to see the very fundamental values of ARI. Re-examine and rethink what ARI is for, and then what we need to value in this community, and what ARI is for this community, local community, and then Japan, and then world. We try to see more clearly and more closely. So I think this is very important opportunity. And then since we can welcome only domestic students and the people, I and then our staff member try to see what we can offer to Japanese students and the young people who are in very difficult situation at this moment because of the many restrictions. I think it's the same in the States. They cannot go to school, and then many schools are online. They cannot meet, they cannot gather. And then many young people have mental problems. And then suicide rates among the especially young ladies, 20s and 30s, increasing a lot. So we try to open up in this, even in this pandemic, with lots of countermeasures, try to open and give opportunity to those young people, especially young people, who wish to come and live in the community and touch the soil, and then feel the connection with the real, the creation of the God. So not in the sitting in a small apartment in the city, but talk and then feel that the warmth of the people. So we see that a lot of people get that experience, and they are regenerated, energized, and they become happier. So we hope to continue although we cannot receive that international students at this moment. We try to wait to welcome the overseas participant until mid-August, so that we can start the second term of the training program from September to March. But as you know, the Tokyo Olympic is coming, strangely at this time. Although that many experts expecting that another rise of the infection is coming in the summer, but they want to welcome a lot of international travelers for the Olympic. And I'm sure Japanese government does not want to welcome, no other people, additional people besides the Olympic related people. So the possibility may be very low for any school, not just the ARI, but for all schools in Japan to have the international students. And then I'm personally very much curious how it gives us to the Japanese society and Japanese education, not to have any international students since January. So already half a year, we don't have any new international students in any schools. Of course, there are second year, third year, fourth year students already been in Japan, they have, but newly coming international students are zero. So I think it gives a very big impact to education in Japan. And especially government had a plan about 15 years ago to have more international students in all the schools in Japan, but it's now completely stopped. So it's a very big impact. But we have a lot of time with the staff member, current staff member, and I try to, as I said, start a little alternative program for Japanese students and then the young people. But at the same time, since the 50th anniversary is coming in 2 years, we discuss a lot, and we started already some years ago about 50th years anniversary visioning and then planning. But we try to equip our campus and revisit the vision of the 50th anniversary of the ARI so that we can start. And when the new people comes, we can show clearly what our plan is and what we want to do. So I want to share, can you share my screen? Then I can show some PowerPoint.
One second.
Sorry, still I have time.
No problem. Okay.
So this is our 50th vision for the sustainability and peace building. We made it 2 years ago, and then last year 2020 winter. And then at the red part, we said at the right side, for the occasion of the 50th anniversary, we ask for you, sorry, not this. The beginning part, we want to celebrate this big occasion, 50 years. And then the second paragraph, after 50 years exploring values and practice for rural future, we want to share viable alternative models of community, farming, spirituality, education, peace building, leadership, and economy more widely to all people who consider themselves to be part of the worldwide ARI family. So point is that we want to open our community and then show ARI as a good model of sustainable community and sustainable living. So we came up to this graphic, and then we have very strong area already about food and sustainability of food and farming. But because of the climate change and the SDGs and then the decarbonization, the Japanese government recently put as a big agenda of a country. So we added other areas: energy sustainability, resource sustainability, organizational sustainability, and then culture with respect and which respect the sustainability. I think this is not the new for us, but energy and the resources, we need to put more energy. So this is just the idea, concept, picture, but we are now trying to make a more attractive, nice diagram, the picture, so that people can come and then see and then understand that what we want to do. So, okay, can you stop the sharing? The oh, I can stop. Yeah. So we hope that campus will become more attractive, and then you know, many people can see that the energy of us, and then see the future of the sustainable society and sustainable living. So yeah, we are very much Genki here in ARI, and then hope to welcome more people gradually in this year. And I hope you can come and visit and then share life with us. So thank you.
Thank you, Tomoko-san. There's a couple of questions that have been put in the chat already. So maybe we have a chance now, maybe 10 minutes or so, to Q&A with Tomoko-san. So there were two similar questions, one from Tim Boyle and one from Marty Peterson, about whether there's enough staff and participants to do all of the chores, you know, with taking care of the animals and livestock. Do you mind sharing about that?
It's a big challenge. Yeah, we have to share all the works by ourselves. And then, so yeah, we now understand that how the participants are important in maintaining our farm and life. They're so strong and they're so capable in all the farm work, but now we have to do by ourselves. And then, so we add the community work. We staff members and all go out and then help the farm work. We do that more often. And then we have to also cleaning were shared before by all members, but we are limited now. Limited people have to do all the cleanings. And now all the weeds are growing, so we have extra cleaning time. more communal work outside.
And this a follow-up question from Catherine and Jim Treese about whether there will be enough food to prepare for next year's participants. Food
is enough. Always food is enough. Actually, we don't too much. We are now reducing the farm production. So actually abundant, and we try to give and share, sell. Yeah, so we have enough. We just finished the onion harvesting, and then a little bit reduced since last year, and we just finished the wheat harvesting too. We have enough. We can store all of these things.
That's good to hear. And this is from a question from Karen from the United Church of Canada. Do you have any idea of when the Japanese government is going to open the borders?
I want to get that answer.
Yeah, me too.
But hoping after the Olympic, maybe September, after September, people saying that we will see how this Olympic would affect the infection, the pandemic in Japan. And by that time, the vaccination will also spread more. So probably after September, October. Yeah, actually, the biggest number of the international students and the business partner is always China or Japan. But still, no Chinese student is coming. So some school teachers say that when the government is open to China, then that's the first, and then gradually opening up more. So we are watching that if there are any Chinese students around here in Tokyo and everywhere.
Got it. Maybe one or two more questions. Does anybody would like to ask a question live? You could unmute yourself and raise your physical hand or your. Oh, I see somebody. Tom's iPad. I'm not sure if that's Tom Morgan, or I'm not sure anyway, but asking about vaccination status.
This is Tom Morgan.
There you are. Would you like to just go ahead and ask your question, Tom?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering about the status. I didn't get to write it all out, but vaccination status, both at ARI the surrounding area, the general impression of what's happening in Japan, just as much as she is able to say.
Actually this is the third state of emergency was lifted 2 days ago in Tokyo and some big cities. And then now it's decreasing because of the state of emergency for, it was 1 month. But, you know, because the number is decreasing, people are also a little bit relieved. And then now more people are going out to the cities and then having more meetings, and then the businessmen are out. So the experts saying that because of that, it will increase, and then it will match with the Olympic time. So I don't know what will happen. And vaccination in nationwide, as of yesterday, it is about 10% of the whole population is finished, the second time of vaccination. So it's still very low, but it's now speeded up very much. So now many big schools, and then if they have over 1,000 people, they can organize the vaccination by themselves. They're finding their doctors by themselves, nurses by themselves. And then nearby hospital, where my husband is working, can extend the opportunity of vaccination to ARI. So we can get the opportunity in August and in September, one time in August and one time in September. So that is the chance for us. So until then, actually nobody except older people over 65 years. The vaccination for elderly people just started now. So in this city. So that's the situation. Around here, the infection rate is very low. And then last week, only one. But yesterday, my husband said 3 people got infected at one time. So we are worried about Delta variant of the virus from India. That is spreading now also in Japan. And then about 100 to 20 people identified to have that Delta variant. And then that is a big fear at this moment. Like a UK, you can see that the big rise of the infection at this moment.
Thank you, Tomoko-san. And
Thank you.
I see a hand up. Kay, please go ahead.
Yeah, you maybe have answered this yet already, but I was wondering if it's because the countries people are coming from are not vaccinating, or is it because Japan is not vaccinating? And I think you said maybe it's a little slow in Japan, but
Yeah.
it's amazing what having the Olympics will do to that. But are the people that normally come from these various countries, are they not vaccinated? Is that Japan won't let them in?
The Japanese government does not require the travelers to get vaccinated before entering Japan. There's no vaccine passport is introduced yet, but I think it is recommended. And then all the Olympic people, I think, are requested to get vaccinated. But some days ago, Ugandan team came, just 9 of them, and they're vaccinated and they got tested before coming and at each airport. But at the Narita airport, 1 was found infected, the positive. So still, even though the vaccination, there is a cases that you get infected again. But right now, I think Japanese government didn't say that you must get vaccinated before coming into. So we are checking because it affects our participants too, whether they need to be vaccinated or not. And then the opportunity in those countries is still very low. So it becomes the problem for us, obstacle for us too, to welcome them.
Well, thank you for your questions, and thank you, Tomoko-san, so much for sharing with us.
Somebody, Tom said that.
Go ahead.
Whether I can sorry. Somebody asked that they're sharing the graphics, so I will paste them later.
Great, thank you very much. and that's exciting.
Thank you.
And we're going to turn now to another video this is of a 2009 graduate named Emmanuel Baya from Kenya. And I believe the video was taken by another Emmanuel, maybe also a graduate. Maybe Stephen can tell us that after the video. But Margaret, could you please roll the video?
My name's Emmanuel Karisa Baya, and I come from Magarini sub-county in Kilifi County. I was in ARI in 2009. Magarini Children's Center and Organic Farming Demonstration Farm is a community-based organization started in the year 2008. And since then, we have been taking care of orphan and vulnerable children in providing them with basic needs, including education. Apart from that, we also train the community on organic farming. So at Magarini Children's Center, we protect and take care of the soil in terms of not putting any chemical in that, so that we can grow healthy and safe food. We have realized that as we take care of the soil, we take care of ourselves. As we take care of the land, we take care of the children, we take care of the people, and this brings love to the community. Protecting the environment by planting trees, building peace by coming together to discuss. When we work together, we discuss, we share the problems that we have, and we say once a problem shared is half solved. So this has helped the organization and the community to build a resiliency on how all of we can counter together these challenges that we have. And this also has brought the children to understand that the activities that are going on here, they are not only for them to learn, but they are life activities that they can use even after they have gone out of this school. During the time I went to ARI, the most experience that I carried home, apart from all what I've done, is how to build potential, to discover potential in youth, in people, in community, and support them to bring out that potential and live to their fullest potential. That is what my deepest and most learning. And that is, since I came here, I've been trying to tap and to train youth, the community, to know their own potential. But the most thing was to discover myself, to discover my potential. And that one, discovering my potential, that helped me to discover other people's potential and to support them to bring to reality. What I learned in ARI is something that I use and I don't teach. We do, because the most thing I learned to learn with community is the learning by doing. So I use this, I bring the people together and we do together. If it is making a bokashi, we do it together. And as we do it together, they learn. COVID-19, I want to say it really affected lives. Despite the fact that we did not have any case, but we were very much affected with the curfews, the lockdowns. We could not travel any place. So already this was as we as a community, we people who we interact, come together, but now maintaining the social distance, wearing of masks, it made people to be traumatized in a way. And this really affected my work here, because you know, as a place where we work together, we used to work the farm, the children. Now we had to replace everything. Like if it is in the class, we have to make sure that the classes are big enough to make sure that they have this social distance. In terms of productions, and it affected us emotionally, and the way of living, the interaction and being socializing. This was really a challenge, and I think it is still a challenge up to now. ARI is a place of life changing and life sharing.
Thank you. That was a great video. Well, I'm going to introduce now Stephen Cutting, who is serving as the Graduate Outreach Coordinator at ARI, although he's based in Kyushu, I believe. So he's joining us this morning from Kyushu. And Stephen, excuse me, has worked at ARI for many years in different roles. And it's great to have you here with us today, Stephen. Thank you for your remarks.
It's better if I unmute. Yeah, thank you very much. I am Stephen Cutting, and I have been at ARI since 2004. And first I was working in the role of ecumenical relations, which is what Kathy is doing now. And during that time, I met many of you because we traveled to the United States and other places and Canada. And we did lots of kind of promotion for ARI. And some of you, though, I realized that I have not met, or you don't know who I am. I actually left ARI in 2013 because my wife was offered an opportunity of a lifetime to work at a university here in Kyushu. That's why we left. And yeah, that was a huge decision, but it really was a blessing in another way because it allowed me to have enough time to go and do a 2-year graduate impact study together with Bev Abma, where we visited 225 graduates in their own homes, in their own communities around the world. And that led to the next thing, which is for me to be graduate outreach coordinator, because Tomoko-san said, nobody else can do this but you after this impact study. And anyway, it's been a great opportunity for me. And it's showed me ARI from a perspective that even when I was working there for the 9 years on the campus, working as graduate outreach coordinator and seeing ARI through the eyes of the graduates showed me a completely new perspective that I had not seen before. And now I feel part of my mission is to bring this perspective to everybody else. I want other people to see ARI through the eyes of graduates. And basically, I have a little list of questions or topics to go through. And the first one is, what do I do? And what is graduate outreach? What does graduate outreach do? And I just want to say that maybe graduate outreach is a little bit of a misnomer because it kind of implies that ARI is reaching out to graduates. But I would rather call it graduate connector, because my role, I feel, is to connect everybody to everybody. I want to connect all the graduates to each other. I want to connect all the graduates with ARI. I want to connect all the graduates with the former volunteers of ARI, because they often had very close relationships and made meaningful friendships while they were at ARI. And I want to connect ARI graduates to all of you, supporters of ARI also. And this I call keeping the ARI family together. And that is my very simple but very big challenge, my motto. Always I talk about keeping the ARI family together. And the next, actually the next on the list, there's the next couple of questions are, what are the biggest challenges faced by graduates? And then that's actually followed by how these graduates overcome these challenges. And I was giving this, these two questions thought. I was thinking about them for quite a while. And it's not because they don't have challenges. There are very many challenges that they face. But I wanted to think that there was something a little bit, I was a little bit uncomfortable with this question. And only this morning I realized why. And it's because the ARI approach is not what we call problem focused. It's not like you identify the problem and then you look for ways to solve the problem. And yeah, although that sounds like a very logical approach, right? You identify the problem, you look for ways to solve the problem. But ARI's approach is different. ARI's approach is resource focused, or you can call it, some people know the whole philosophy of positive inquiry. That's not appreciative inquiry. But I'll instead of going into the discussion about this, I want to just give an example, and I want to talk about Emmanuel, who you just saw in the video. I was very close with Emmanuel in 2009, and he didn't. Nobody called him Emmanuel. He had a nickname. His name is Piccolo, like the little flute. And I always call him Piccolo, but now he's such an important person in his community that when I visited him a few years ago and called him Piccolo, everyone was laughing. They couldn't believe that such an important person could be called Piccolo. But I was very close with him. And when I see this video, which is really well made, I can't believe that, I think he has some video technician on his staff, or maybe a volunteer. I got goosebumps. It was very exciting. But regarding the what I was talking about earlier, problem focus versus resource focus, if you can, I don't know how much you remember of the video, but if you run back through your mind, did he talk about the problems of his community? He didn't. And that's usually what you get. You hear that, oh, there's hunger, there's the crop harvest was bad, something was bad. Does it mean he doesn't have problems? No, they have tons of problems. And the approach toward the problem is to see first what their resources are. And before he started this school that he called the Magarini Organic Demonstration Farm, I forgot, it's a long name. But anyway, before he started the school, he didn't have any money. He had very few resources, but he did have a problem. In his community in the early 2000s, that's when AIDS was called a national emergency in Kenya. So many people were dying of AIDS, and there were many, many, many AIDS orphans. And in his own community, there were these children who were orphans. And he didn't have money to build an orphanage. He didn't have the ability to take in all of these children. So instead of what he did is he looked for the resources in his own community. And he walked around to all the families, and he asked each family, can you take in 1 or 2 children? Because they don't have parents, they need somebody to take care of them. And they said, well, but we are poor. We have our own children. We have to take care of them. We want to send them to school. We can't do for others as we do for our own. And he said, I'm a farmer. I can help you at least with giving some of you food, or giving some of the food you need. And this is for our community. We need to do this. And they did. And they took in the children. And then he said, well, I'm a farmer, but I can't grow everything by myself for everybody. So let's do it together. And they formed mostly women farmers groups. I'm not sure why. I don't know if the men were working, or I don't know what the reason was, but they formed these women farmers groups, especially his wife, both of them working together. And they began to grow more and more food together. Then, basically from here, things started to grow. And he wanted to make this school. This school that you saw in the video was his dream that he presented at ARI at graduation time, or just before graduation in 2009. It didn't exist in 2009. In fact, when I went to visit him in 2014, it still didn't exist. But he had a plot of land, 40 acres of land. And I saw that land, and there was nothing on it. And now, 5 years later, there are classrooms, there are dormitories, there are toilets, there are trees that have been growing already for 5 years. There are gardens, there's a pig pen, there's a chicken pen, all of these things, because he started with what he had and let it grow. So I hope that kind of answers those two questions. And I'm not sure how I'm doing on time, but maybe I'll just go to one more topic on the list, and then I'll just let people ask your own questions. The next question was, what can we do to support these graduates? And then it says, of course, in parentheses, not necessarily a call for donations, but are there other actions we can take? And this is also something I deal with a lot with graduates, because the idea of support, often the very first thing is money. They need money, and they can do a lot with money, but there are also many other ways we can support. And one thing I really, really want to kind of emphasize is one of the best ways to support is to prepare ourselves first. If there is a situation, or if there's what do I want to say? I want to say learn. For example, we have a graduate in Sierra Leone who is working with many problems there. They had a brutal civil war in which many people became amputees. They had their arms and legs cut off. They had Ebola, and now they're dealing with COVID. And they are in the top 10 or bottom 10. They are the top 10 poorest, one of the top 10 poorest countries in the world, according to the United Nations. He is working in this context, but if I want to do something for him or help him, I need to know all of the things he's working with. So like, I got this book called A Long Way Gone by Ishmael Bea. It's actually written by a child soldier. When I read this, I got a whole new perspective of Sierra Leone and what he's going through. Now, I don't have the book because I borrowed it, but now I lent it out to somebody, but there's a book from Myanmar called The Land of Green Ghosts, which talks about all the history, especially the person is from Kaya State, where there's fighting going on now. And now I can understand the whole history, why this is happening. And when I understand the why or the behind, it helps me to make better decisions of what I can do now. And I'll do a little self-promotion. I don't know if you have seen this, but after the graduate impact study in 2000, after it finished in 2015, I spent 2016 writing up this book about stories of the ARI graduates. And actually, I want to show the one, if I can find the page quickly. It's not coming quick. I know where it is. There's a picture of Piccolo. It's not coming up. Anyway, there's a picture of Piccolo and his wife, who's her name is Boucher, and she also came to ARI in 2013 because he wanted a good working partner together, and they wanted to be on the same page. I'm not going to find it in time. Anyway, read this and you'll know something about our graduates. And I think maybe I can just stop now and let you guys ask questions.
Great, thank you so much, Stephen. Anyone want to, let me change my view here. Does anybody have any questions for Stephen?
I'm Martha. I don't have a question. I just want to affirm, I had the opportunity to meet Emmanuel and his wife in Kenya, and ended up going to a small seminar or meeting they did, and he helped me understand organic farming, climate change, and just enthusiasm for what he does, and to see what he learned. And, you know, when his wife went, he stayed home with the 6 girls. So their commitment to learning and their community is tremendous, and their joy is just outstanding. So I thoroughly enjoyed the film tonight.
Sorry, can you tell me what year you went to see him?
Bev, was it 2 or 3 years ago?
Oh.
In January.
2019, we went to Kenya together.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, with Bev and Martha.
If you ever have the opportunity to go with any of them on a vision trip to see the results, it's well worth doing. It'll change your life.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Martha. Any questions? Oh, I see Kay there, please. Thank you.
Kay always has a question. Maybe I'm too American, but you didn't give me much thought on what I could do other than money. I mean, you pointed me to stuff so I might understand better, but you didn't give me any concrete ways to find out and do other than give money.
Okay, this is not an easy question. So yeah, my first was educate, and the second, actually, I forgot. I was going to say one more thing, which is what you are already doing. I think from my discussions with graduates, just being a friend, just being a person that they can talk to, just being a person that is interested in what they do and wanting to know more about them, their community, I think that's a tremendous help. This is why I'm always trying to connect the ARI family. This is what you're doing with Shawnee in Nepal. I know that you are able to support her financially a little bit, but also at the same time, she really appreciates having you as a friend. And I find this with many of the graduates. I am writing to them all the time, but there are 1,300 graduates. I would love to be just a friend with all of them and just spend all day typing letters. But you guys can also do the same thing. That encouragement is precious. They face a lot of struggles and they want to give up. They try to build something and then it falls apart because of a bad harvest, or because of climate change, or because of war, or because of a government corrupt government policy or something like that. And then it falls apart. And then what do? They can't give up. They keep going. And they need encouragement. And it sounds like maybe it's not a tangible thing, but it is a very precious thing. So encourage. From us, I bring the graduates together to encourage each other. It is a very precious thing. I don't know if you want something more than that, though.
No, but of course, language makes it very difficult to show support and encouragement. Language differences. But I do my best.
I think she understands everything you say.
There is one other question that came in the chat that is about Bokashi. This might be more, I think, to either of you, Stephen or Tomoko, or Kathy, you're here with us today as well. But the question is, what exactly is it? I don't know if anybody really knows, but right.
Shall I answer, or
sure?
Somebody else?
Sure.
Okay. Bokashi, Tomoko-san?
No, go ahead. Dozo.
Okay. Well, bokashi is basically organic compost. It's a fermented compost that's used to fertilize plants so that you don't need to give chemical fertilizers. And the thing about bokashi is you don't have to wait 6 months or 8 months for compost to decompose. Bokashi can be made in 2 to 3 weeks. In the very tropical countries, it can be ready in 5 to 10 days. And this is one of the things we teach at ARI, and it's probably the most copied practical agricultural skill that goes from ARI out to the graduates who are doing farming. They go back and all they need is the animal manure and soil, and they need various, maybe something like rice husk or some substitute. You need basic ingredients, and then you mix it together, and it's a very nutritious organic fertilizer that comes from basically free resources around them. So they don't have to purchase fertilizers. Does that answer the question?
I think so. And Marty Peterson just put in the chat a link to an article. I think it's part of your knowledge base that you've been working with the graduates on, Stephen, but a graduate in maybe Cameroon, I lost the link, but who has a recipe for making bokashi. So
I'm glad to know that the people are seeing this knowledge base, because this is a project I'm doing here as a graduate outreach, where I'm trying to collect the practices of ARI and also of ARI graduates and put them up online so that they are available to basically anybody who is interested.
Yeah. Stephen, I want to say something.
please.
I heard it from the volunteers, former graduate who is the leader at the ARI when we were visiting them. And she was saying, all of us know how hard on our uncle, our fathers, all these people died because they were using chemical fertilizers, and they had to have a loan to get the fertilizers. So I cannot understand how much they appreciate bokashi making. Yeah.
Yes, this is one of the cycles. If the farmer has to take a loan to buy fertilizers, and if the crop still isn't good, they still have to repay the loan. And this, in this situation, this sends people into desperate, difficult times. However, the bokashi they like it. It's labor intensive, but usually they can get the ingredients for free or very low cost.
Great. Well, we have maybe a chance for one more question. If anybody has a final question or comment that they'd like to share with the group gathered today. I'm looking for hands. And if not, that's fine. Just want to say thank you so much to our colleagues at Asian Rural Institute for taking the time this morning, especially without participants on campus, or as many participants. As you said, it's probably a lot busier for all of you. So thank you for your time today. And for Stephen, thank you so much for joining from Kyushu and for sharing us about your work with the graduates. And for all of you for joining us from all over the country and world. Thank you for your time and for your support of Asian Rural Institute. We want to invite you to continue on this journey with us as we work to support the graduates and the work at ARI. I also want to mention that there's one more webinar this week, actually, that ARI is running as part of a webinar series that's going to feature 2 graduates from the Philippines. And if you're interested, maybe somebody can put this in the chat. Maybe Sherry, you can put the information in the chat there. But it's not the best time of day for some of you in the United States. I think it's like 6:30 a.m. in East Coast time on Thursday morning, which on the West Coast would be way too early, middle of the night. But if you're interested in that, it would be great to see you there as well. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to do this type of event again, and look forward to seeing you at future events. Kate, go ahead, Kate.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
The video showing the place, it has changed so much, I didn't recognize any of it. But I wondered why none of the big buildings, and I know many of those have been completely redone because
Yes.
of, but they were not shown.
Yeah, I think that video was made by some students from the United States that were visiting ARI. So maybe we can have a project to make some more videos of the campus, including the newer buildings.
Yeah,
that would be great.
The chicken pins were the only things that I recognized.
Yeah.
And I hoped that the old rooster that always picked on me was dead.
Well, that's probably a good note to end on here with thinking about the roosters and chickens at ARI. Yes. So it was great to see you all, and thank you again for your time this evening or morning or midday, depending on where you are. All right, take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Great to see you.